Guys, welcome back to the Untoldgems podcast. This is episode 28. We have another Amazon seller in
Oh,
on the pod today. His name is Abdul. He is one of the first people I think that I ever saw that was doing Amazon, especially in Montreal. And he's sort of a bit of the reason as to why I got started. I'll let you introduce yourself quickly.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks for having me over. By the way, guys, I've watched Swift's video as well, and I was happy to be next, if I can put it this way. Yeah, my name is Abdul. I'm based in Montreal. I've been doing Amazon for not that many years, more than you guys. I think by now, like this summer, completed my third year, my third full year.
wow.
So yeah, Swift used to do it a good 2 years before me. So.
Mm-hmm.
I came like 3 years. Now it's like 3 years and like 3 months, something like that. Yeah, and I've done it all. RA, OA. Now I'm strictly wholesale. Most of my money invested with like manufacturers, big ones that I'm tied with. Lots of inventory, and yeah, I've been doing that for a little while now, and I love it. I mean, Swift put me in the game. Honestly, I started step by step with him. I was working in finance full time, and I wanted a different approach in life. It's
Mm-hmm.
not about I wanted to do e-commerce. It's not about I want to do FBA, but I just wanted a different approach in life in general, a different perspective of life, right? And I was seeing Swift do all, he was doing a good amount of money, at that time. And once he told me, come with me, let's do some sourcing. I'll teach you A to Z. And je l'ai attrapé très vite, as we say in French. Like I caught it very quick. And I
Yeah.
really appreciate it. And then since then, I just did not let it go. I held to it. You get smashed in the face a few times, but you adapt and you find things that are good for you, that make sense to you. And that's where I am today. And I also have my online academy, as you guys know. It's been there for a
Mm-hmm.
while. Honestly, I'm so excited for my students because the more we get better, and I'm sure you guys can relate because you also have an awesome
Oh, for
community.
sure.
The more you guys grow, the more your students, like the students that come at that time, they're getting more value of you, and obviously your
Yeah.
older ones as well. So the better you get, the better your community get, and the better access they get, more suppliers they get, the more perks they get. So that's where I
Yeah.
am today. I'm at maybe 360 students, and they're all people I've
Wow.
communicated with through DM, through text message, through Zoom, through phone calls. So they're not just like random people, they're real people that I've communicated with. And it's been great. I don't have a counter that counts how much my students generate in general, but I should have one. I'm sure it's a nice number. Yeah, man. If I can do Amazon FBA for next many years of my life, I just hope the infrastructure remains, and I'm going to do this as long as I can.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. That's crazy. So I remember, like, just to put this in context for people, I think 2 years ago, before I started, I even remember the dates. It was around March 2020. It was a couple of months before I got started. I remember you posted something on your story, and that you had made 70K sales in 1 month. So that before that, I had tried private label and it didn't work out. But then I saw your numbers and I was like, yo, that's crazy. This guy from my high school is making 70K a month. He's younger than me. Why did it not work for me? So that's how my journey started. Like I started then learning about it. And yeah, if you were making 70K in sales 2 years ago, I can only imagine now what you're making. Like this is another 7-figure seller for you guys that we have on the pod. And yeah, so did you say Swift taught you OA? Did I get that right?
Yeah, no. So actually, Swift taught me the first things that he used to do. We used to go to. I mean, I'm not sure if Swift shared these things with you guys, but yeah, we used to go to like flea markets, pawn shops. I'm not afraid to say it, right? I left the job all suited up, making very good money, to going all over Montreal, grabbing all I can in a specific niche we used to sell, video games niche. Obviously, it was really great, and that 70K I generated in March. And by the way, Swift have probably generated another like 82K that same month. And we're
Wow.
together chilling on a daily basis pretty much, because those were like essentially life-changing days for us, life-changing month for us, you know what I mean? And it was already up from there, just for me and him. But yeah, we used to go all over the place, buy these video games, pack them, clean them, do what we need to do, and send them to Amazon. And that brings us to maybe a subject that you guys never talked about. There's so much opportunities in used products, right?
Yeah, I was
There's
gonna
so
ask.
much opportunities in used products. But yeah, this is where I started for a year and a half, for a full year of my, actually more, for like a year and like 1.2 like almost 2 years, I was pretty much buying used products. My whole business was based on
Um,
products. And look, it was great. There's a specific demand for these. The typography for these products are very good. The only difference is there's no buy box. It's just a orange. No, sorry, it's a black line throughout the graph.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And this is where I was. And then your buy box percentage is like always 0, 0, 0 because there's no buy box for these products, right? Because at that time, by the way, there wasn't the used buy box, the used offer buy box. That's a new thing.
Okay.
At our
Mm.
time, the used offers, you put buy box. So it's like, you look at the graph, it's like going up and down crazy, but there's no buy box line. It's just black. So yeah, we started very from humble beginnings in terms of the approach we had to buy products, right? Not the money. We were making great money right at first, but we used to do like lots of, not very, how can I say this? C'était pas attirant what we were doing. You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah,
something
for
that we
sure.
want to do. We're just
Yeah.
driving around, getting our products, selling it. The idea is we were spending a lot of money. We were doing this on a daily basis. We knew most of the people that did did this business model in Montreal, and we were doing it very well. Honestly, we were helping each other a lot. Like, shout out to Swift. Honestly, like today, if I have 360 students and my mom, sister, brother sells on Amazon, additional to all these 360 students, it's because Swift one day showed me the business and just like created an army of people that sell. So shout out to him. But in terms of OA, I started doing OA when I was in Lebanon. The last time I was in Lebanon, actually, which was the summer of my first year. Sorry, the second year that I did Amazon. And then I was just there being okay, like I bought a lot of inventory, shipped them all to Amazon. But now I'm here doing nothing. I'm going to be here for the next month. I'm not doing anything, So I went online, started to look for deals. I didn't know about TA. I didn't know about none of that. Nothing. I just knew the Keepograph. And I knew that there were items that sell for more expensive on Amazon just because of what Amazon is in general. It's a
Yeah.
high ticket, marketplace that has everything, and you're gonna pay the price if Amazon's not the offer. You know what I mean? Anyways, so I would go to the entire Toys R Us, obviously all that good stuff, and just look on their clearance, look on their sales. Bro, I used to spend days just on website because I didn't know TA. I didn't know
So you're
any
doing everything
other
manually.
Manual
everything
sourcing.
manual. You know what I mean? And I wasn't scared to do dirty work because I have done so much dirty work before. In terms of like going all over the city doing RA used.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was used to putting that work. And yeah. And then one day, I think either Swift told me about TA or I found it somewhere on YouTube, and I got to learn. And I'm like, oh damn! Now it's a totally different story. You're still sourcing hours, but it's such a different source. You're sourcing leads.
Yeah.
Lots of these leads are invalid, as you both know, but some of them are, and this is where you can buy 10, 20, 30, 50, 60 units, and you have yourself a good order. You know what I mean? So, I was already teaching, like some of my people around me for free how to sell on Amazon. I didn't have an academy just yet because I wasn't like that good just yet. But really what bumped was just before COVID, because I was starting to restock a lot, starting to have more fun, and starting to have TA as well as a side model, if you want, and still focused on video games. And that's when boom, it went crazy. Prices went up, demand went up because people thought life was gonna close.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So that was the breaking point. It was COVID year. I don't want to blame it on COVID. I want to blame it on the fact that I was at a good place at the right time, and I was having good support, and I had good funds, lots of inventory, and I used to do FBM as well at that month. I had to do FBM because 90% of my products were non-essential products. So you're not sending it to FBA. And March, by the way, was a full month of FBM. It was 70 grand, March 2020.
Wow.
FPM, that's
FBM.
crazy,
Like
yo.
only FBM, bro. Yeah, because I wasn't able to send. And mind you, like February 20, I remember I went to this guy's warehouse and I bought so much stuff, brought it home, took a break, and then boom, I'm coming to send them over. And then that's when these limits started to appear.
Limits.
And I'm like, shoot, I have my basements, my parents' basement, full of items, like 50, 60 grand worth of like video games, you know what I mean? And these video games are just unwrapped and wrapped and bubble wrapped. So it takes a lot of steps, And I'm like, screw it. This is not gonna stop me. I started opening FBM listings, and bro, it went crazy.
That's crazy.
It went crazy for Swift as well. So yeah, man. So that's my TA experience. I don't have too much TA experience. I've done TA, I've taught it. It worked very well for me. But at some point, I'm like, whoa. I want to do things differently. And my whole idea of Amazon is I don't want to have to report to anyone. So many
Mm,
people have different
yeah.
perspectives. My perspective is very solitary. Not that I don't help people around me, I do, but in terms of my business, I'm like, let me do this on my own. And then the box things, obviously prep centers and all that good stuff. But anything I can do myself, let me do it.
Mm-hmm.
There's seller board for inventory tracking. There is prep centers for prepping and shipping. A lot of my suppliers are able to send to Amazon direct. So my business is very, clean, simple, and no employees, no VAs, no nobody. Just if I need prepping, my prep center. If I need inventory tracking, seller board, I have my accountant that keeps after me every quarter, and that's it. That's where my business is at today.
No, that's far. That's the thing. I was always surprised when you would tell me like you had no employees. I was like, that's crazy. How are you still managing everything on your own? But you're doing wholesale, and I guess with wholesale, it's easier to just repurchase the products in that sense. You can just replan over and over
And
again.
scale. I mean, look, there's obviously the side of scaling. And let me tell you one thing, man. Like, I put in a lot of hours for my work. Why? Because I want to find products that pay me high profit, right? Today, I have access to me and my students, actually, because my students have access to every single one of my suppliers. Every single one of my suppliers, my students have access to it. I have a Google Docs in my course that is updated on a daily basis, and they see all of the supplies that I'm sourcing essentially. And I'm always sourcing, man. And let me tell you, I've spent thousands of hours into things that brought me zero. You know what I mean? Just
Oh, yeah.
looking.
That's
And
relatable.
you know what I mean? I've sold food, I've sold all types of things on Amazon. So I've tried all types of things. And I got to a point right now, thank goodness, that I found very good manufacturers that have exclusivity. I have exclusivity with some of them as well. And even like they apply transparency code, meaning like you cannot sell this inventory essentially, even if you're ungated. It's not about
Mm,
ungated. You need transparency codes, and your merchant token needs to match with like their criteria and stuff.
that's fire.
Nonetheless, yeah, that's where I am today. And I'm trying to scale, and I need to scale because these suppliers of mine, they're like, listen, you're not profitable from me if you don't buy 50 grand a month minimum in US. Imadi, you're not profitable. Meaning I'm not making profits with him, meaning his price are close to retail after fees, net of fees. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So I mean my profit is net of fees pretty much zero if I'm only buying 50 grand. So I have to push very much with them. You know what I mean? And it's been well, man. And profits are better. So that's my focus. I see some guys in the US, they generate
mm,
this much net, and I'm like, what are you putting your time? You're putting your time for 30 employees for 3 warehouses. What's your goal on Amazon? What's my goal? My goal is a bit different. That's why I'm moving the way I move. You know what I mean? And
mm-hmm.
it's been nice, man. But let me tell you, Amazon's a challenging business. You always have obstacles. You're always adapting and overcoming these obstacles.
Oh,
At the end
for
of the
sure.
day, it's not about you're smarter. It's about you're adapting. So
Mm.
that's what my business has been all about, and it's been great until now, man. I love this business.
That's crazy. There's a lot there. So how much time would you say you spend now per week on your business?
So to generate what I'm generating, and this is gonna sound like stupid and funny, but to generate what I'm generating today, I don't need to spend more than 5 hours a week, 6 hours a week.
Mm,
Like, let me tell you what my business today, aujourd'hui, what am I doing today? I'm managing business relationships. Like, I need to talk to my salesperson. I literally just sent a really big wire today to a foreign country to buy some goods, to import them to the US. And then from the US, you send them for my prep to Amazon FBA warehouses. And I put a big amount. But then as soon as it was paid, I sent them the proof and I'm like, I'm ready for a new order. So that's what I'm doing, man. I'm just on my phone managing like my suppliers, pushing them as much as I can to buy, negotiating prices. And what I really like about Amazon, and this is also something Swift that put in my head for a very long time ago, was high ticket items.
mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, man,
Mm,
high ticket items changed my game. I would say throughout summer. Like this year, 2022 was a very transitionary year for me. Why? I was moving from something to where I am today, and was kind of acquitting like $10 products, $20 products, $30 products. I did not want to deal with that, along with restock limits as well. I'm like, if we only have these few thousand units, let me maximize them, and
yeah.
this is where I am. That's why I'm focused on high ticket. It's because you can, sell 30, 40 items, but you've made your 6, 7, 8 grand on a daily, you know what I mean? Versus having to sell 25 products to sell only $500, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I am today and where I'm focused on. But there's also lots of opportunities to sell low ticket because it's also better for your account to sell a lot of units versus lower. But nonetheless, that's where I am today, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I wanted to ask, like, would you say that when you started, did you prefer the going out to like thrift stores, buying video games, or do you prefer OA? Or like what would you recommend to someone who's just starting out? Would you recommend them to do OA or to do what you did to start?
Yeah, no, I mean, the only thing I recommend to people is to take an approach that they enjoy. So then they're going to put in the hours. So then they figure it out. If they still enjoy it, then they move to something else.
Yeah.
The idea is find what you like to do. Like, let me put you in perspective. Swift is a friend of mine, and it's been there. I've been his friends for what? I'm 26 today. He's probably been my guy for the past 21 years, right? Me and him and another guy. We've been friends for like 21 years. And let me tell you what I was doing. What I was doing is going with him to flea markets 9 a.m. on a Saturday, walking around in a flea market, buying a shit ton of goods. Sorry to say this, but like a lot of goods, me and him. That was fun for me, right? Is it the
Mm,
most efficient way to conduct your business? Absolutely not. But that's what I was doing. Now, I suggest people to take always in a better, a more efficient approach.
Mm.
Going to thrift stores, going to flea markets, what I was doing is not the most efficient thing, right? I was spending a lot of time per unit, and you can never scale doing that, right? That's kind of, if you want to compare it to like a job, you can never scale in a job because of the hours you're putting, right?
Yeah.
So I was very limited in the units that I was buying because I was physically going to these thrift stores and flea markets and all that good stuff. But my advice to anyone starting is, first of all, study the actual game. What is Amazon? What's Sell Essential? The basics. What's Keepa? The basics, the most important aspects, the vital aspects, and then study the different models and figure out what's best for you. Also, what's very important, and that's something that people very ignore, is to understand your circumstances. You cannot start like me, what I'm doing now, dealing with manufacturers that make 3, 4, 500 million dollars and their global business sales. You cannot reach out to these people to buy inventory from them. You know what I mean? You cannot. It's impossible. These people, they require a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
obviously, you need to understand your circumstances, and if you cannot afford, right? I don't want to say afford wholesale, but some wholesale distributors accept $250 order, $500 orders, so it's very
mhm.
affordable. But you know start with what you have, right? Start with what you have in terms of experience, in terms of knowledge, in terms of funds. Not all people that just start e-commerce have the experience to start dealing with wholesalers and manufacturers and suppliers and so on. So it's so easy to go ahead and learn TA. Well, it's not easy to learn TA, but it's accessible to learn TA.
Yeah.
And then with time, with practice, you learn the actual system and you start applying it way faster than finding profitable wholesale suppliers and so on. So
Mm.
start with the things that are advised by the expert, that is more accessible, and then work your way out, work your way through. And the thing is that wholesale is so scalable, but TA is so scalable as well. And that's why now, as a 100% full wholesale Amazon seller, I'm like, shoot, I want to look at TA a bit more. I want to hire someone close to me, not a VA, but someone I can train and trust to fully work on TA, because it's so scalable as well. So
Do you
you know
mean OA? Or are you talking about tactical
no,
arbitrage?
but TA, tactical arbitrage, like
Oh,
that's what I mean.
tactical. Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
like
But
online
but
arbitrage, but only using TA, obviously.
Okay.
and have you ever used the wholesale package with TA? Like, is that what you mean? You want to hire some? Oh, you want to hire
No,
someone to do OA?
yeah, OA, but using
Okay.
tactical
Using
arbitrage.
TA.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah. That's what
Okay.
I meant. Sorry, guys, I didn't specify that,
No,
but
it's okay.
no,
But you've
I
never
didn't
used
use.
the wholesale package?
No, I didn't use their wholesale package
Mm.
just because there was many providers like Scan Unlimited, like Analyzer.tools, that provide some of these
Mm.
filtering and scanning features for way cheaper, way more straightforward. I don't
Mm.
need to log into 3 calls and then tactical arbitrage to get.
Yeah.
I could just boom upload a Excel sheet within minutes or seconds. I have scan the 10,000 units. Sorry, 10,000
Excuse.
SKUs list, and boom, in a matter of minutes, I know exactly what I'm going to buy and how much I'm going to spend. So I've never used it. For me, tactical arbitrage, what it does, what it's born at doing, is the online arbitrage package. This is what they do best, and
Yeah.
and that's their life changing, if you want, approach to the wholesale, to all of the Amazon game worldwide. I think TA is so respected throughout Amazon because so many people live off TA only, which
Yeah,
is
for sure.
amazing, and it's actually such a solid system. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Have you ever used Seller Amp?
No, I haven't used Seller app. I've seen right now Swift has been using it. I use that Chrome extension Seller app.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
This
the
profit
For the
Mhm.
yeah.
profit calculator. Then I have Keepa. Keepa's honestly my best friend
Yeah,
ever.
keep us.
yeah.
Yeah, literally, I always say the same thing. But
Keepa
because
is like the
everyone's
best I would get, you know, like literally.
100%. Yeah, I always say like if there's one software that you're gonna get, it's gonna be Keepa. Like it has to be
100%.
Keepa.
Yeah, it's non-negotiable. That's what people need to understand. It's non-negotiable to get Keepa.
Yeah.
And then the third luxury good I have, if you want, is the X-ray feature from Helium 10. I call it
Mm.
luxury because you don't absolutely need it, but at some point when you're generating numbers like me, you know, instead of putting your money elsewhere, just buy some things that can help you in your business. And then Helium 10, what I like is that they go really based on oh, that's funny. I just got an email from Tesla because they were selling Tesla chargers, and I just reached out to their wholesale team, and I'm going to be able to get some wholesale amount of chargers
That's
from
what are you talking about,
Wait,
bro?
from
they're
This
the
guy's
selling
vendor.
they're
selling
selling
Tesla chargers, bro. What are you
wait, they're
No,
talking
go.
selling
about?
You can
Tesla chargers on
okay.
Amazon?
Go. No, but I saw that there was an opportunity to go right now. Okay, everyone watching this video, go on Tesla shop. Tesla shop. They sell chargers for $500. They sell for 800.
Mm.
Same thing in the US. So for me, I'm like, let me see if I can get some bulk, and that's why I emailed them, and I just got the email right now on my own computer. They're just asking for a few criteria, obviously, you know, large numbers, but we'll try to figure it out. But yeah, there's just a little anecdote.
That's funny, bro. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
This
What
guy's
were we
reaching out to
saying?
Tesla chargers.
I completely derived subject. What were we saying?
we're talking about Helium 10, the X-ray
Yeah.
What is the
feature.
X-ray? What is the X-ray
I've heard
feature?
I know a girl that uses it like primarily from
What
the
does it
US
do?
and she lived like she
So
swears by it.
it looks so the X-ray feature exactly. The only reason I use Helium 10 is the X-ray feature, which is $20 a month. It's again, it's a luxury, so it's expensive for what it does, but it looks at the BSR and it tells you exactly how many sales a month it does. The listing generates.
Mm.
Then sometimes it'll show you if it's a variation ASIN. It'll show you the different sales per variation.
Okay.
But a lot of times it shows you all of the sales for like it only shows you the sales of all of the sales in the parent ASIN and not the
Mhm.
variation. So
Mm.
sometimes it's not as specific as I want it to be. It's just Keepa itself, the drops per month, that number, the drops per month is not it's not precise. It's most of the time it's more. Like anytime you'll
Of
see more
course,
than
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
I've noticed
anytime you
that.
see like 20 drops a month and more, it starts to exponentially grow in terms of the actual sales a month, right? So Helium 10 is a bit more specific in that number, right? But you don't need it. It's just that luxury good again that I just have.
Mm.
But
Mm.
those are the tools. Look, I don't use too many tools. I like I like clean lists in my business. I like it to be clean. I like to be honest with myself, and I like to run my business on a very like Zen mentality, Zen mindset. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And my energy into things that are worth it. You know, so that's why I have these few systems. They work very well. I don't look further. You know what I mean?
I'm a bit interested in knowing you're talking about Zenness and stuff like that. There are some aspects of this business like returns. I know what my returns look like. I can only imagine what your returns look like. So
So
like how do you deal with your returns? I know we've spoke a bit about you sell them to sometimes your students. So I just want you to talk a bit about that.
yeah, look, returns. We're actually very lucky, guys. On Amazon, we need to be so grateful for our business model. By the way, like
Mm.
to be able to generate numbers that you guys are generating, and then some of my students are generating with so little resources, it's great. It's so good. You know what I mean? So in terms of returns, my rate of return always been great. Why? Because of the products that I started selling. Right, Swift introduced me to some very good products that were selling very well, and they were niche. So people that were buying them, they know what they're buying, right? A lot of times you get returns because people don't know what they're buying. They buy the wrong products, whatever. So the
Mm.
products I was selling, they were always niche, and the rate of return was less than 5%. And again, that's the gross rate of return. The net rate of return is like 3.2 because then that 1.8 never made it back to the FC. You get reimbursed. Okay.
Mm.
So my rate of return always been great. Always been great. Like I'm telling you right now, my rate of return is something like net 3%. Every
Mm.
100 order, 3 of them actually gets to the FC, and I need to bring it back to my, to my return address to see what's up with it and potentially sell it. So yes, there has been instances where a few of my students told me, you know what, I'm down to buy your returns if you can do some very good pricing. And I'm like, sure, come over, Brian, bring 6-7 grand and, empty my basement. You know what I mean? I did that a few times every, say, month or two for, a bit of times. But now I'm not doing that because now I kind of changed the price I'm selling. And these products are very worthy of sending it back to the FC and selling it as used like new for not even a 5% discount, not even a 5% discount, 4% discount. So in reality, at the end of the day, I'm not really losing anything except maybe like a 3-4% loss on the used items that I send back to the FC. Okay.
So you send them back as used?
Yeah, of course. I don't
Okay,
dispose. You know, a lot of people in this game, depending of the items that they get returned, they just dispose it. And then some people, they dispose all of their returns because of the fact that they're selling low ticket items, which is fine. But that takes up a lot of your net profit, and depending of your net return rate on a long-term basis, you're talking thousands and thousands of dollars. You know, so for me, I cannot afford to dispose my returns. I mean, I could, but I don't want to, right? I do not want to bring them back. A lot of times they're new. Lots of times, brand new, good, perfect. Slap a FNC if it needs or not. Just send it over and that's it.
I've been thinking, like, I'm interested in sending them back as used. I just want to know, in your experience, how that works with the buy box. How do you decide the price with the sales? Like, how do you make those decisions?
So, first of all, your returns are a very small unit quantities if you divide them by the total unit quantity.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right? Okay, so we're not stressed about will it sell or not, because it will. First of all, it will sell. Second of all, you have such low quantity units that it's not gonna hurt your metrics, your performance, and so on. That being said, again, you need to calculate the time you're putting versus the time what it's gonna get you. You know, for me, I used to sell very low ticket products, $10-12 products, and I would still bring them back to my basement. But then at some point, I just dispose them because, like, you know what, I'm not gonna go ahead and sell these. But anything that's worth sending it back, and you know how much you're going to be able to send it, because on the keeper graph you'll still see what the used offers are. You can go ahead and see if it's profitable in terms of time / profit that's going to make you. Go ahead and send it. But I mean, the thing is, again, some products you could sell them new. First of all, you could send them used, I mean, and some of them you cannot. Some of them you can just not list an offer used. Right, so that's a small minority of products. But look, in the US, they have the liquidation, the liquidation percentage remittance they do if you decide to like liquidate essentially, or instead of disposing or returning, they'll do that. But that for very low ticket items with a very low return rate, that's okay. But if people are doing that and they have like 10% return rate, 11% return rate, that's tragedy. You know what I mean? But in terms of will it sell used or not, man, like, put it, like, just list it, right? List it.
Yeah,
let me tell you again, I started my business with used. It's like God decided how I'm gonna go with my business at first, so I can be strong. Now I know that you sell. So if I have used inventory at home, I'm not intimidated. I'm looking at all these used products at home. I'm like, yo, I can sell the shit out of these, you know what I mean? Because I started my whole business selling used products. So I'm so comfortable with used units. And send it over, drop 10, 12, 15%, depending on what the used offers are, and check it out.
So you create another listing used, and then you just send it to that listing.
Yeah, go to that same SKU, add another condition, use like new, use very good. Write a text, open box, ships fast from Amazon. You know what I mean? Money guarantees, you know, whatever, like let them know that you're essentially as protected as if they were buying a new product. And that's it. But it's just, I don't know what the rate of return is for all of the Amazon sellers, but what I know for all of the Amazon sellers is that why dispose your goods, you know, like you cannot. Especially me, like I got my biggest return the other day. It was 1,244 CAD, like one product return. You think I'm gonna?
But that's what I'm saying. For you, that's why I wanted to know, because you're getting high ticket returns too. So how?
Coming back home, I'm gonna take a look at them. If they're sealed, they're going back to Amazon the same day. That's all.
Of course,
I don't do it myself. I'm just saying this figuratively, but they're obviously going to the prep center or to a certain address. I have a few people that were willing to buy my inventory, send them back for me, and that's it. Quickly done. Sent back to Amazon, ready for sale. That's it.
Okay.
Wait, so I have a question. So when you take back returns from the US, you can't have them shipped to a Canadian address, can you?
No,
yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
I have a prep.
Yeah, I was gonna say your prep center, like they're willing to help you with that.
So yes, but I don't. For my returns, I don't use my prep center. I use a few friends of mine that I've helped immensely, and if they're watching this video, they'll recognize themselves. But anyways, they've helped me immensely in like keeping some of my inventory, and I've helped them a lot. So they're willing to receive some of my goods, and I trust them, you know. So they'll receive them.
Are you talking about people in the US?
Yeah. Arizona, Texas, North Carolina, a few guys just in the US. They're there. And again, I've helped them with their Amazon business, so they're just helping me with these favors, you know. And at the end of the day, I don't have that many returns because again, I'm not selling 1,000 units a day like a lot of these guys are doing. I'm selling, my average right now is over $250 per unit sold. Like literally my average in Canada, in the US might be like 180 or something like that. You know what I mean? So I do not dispose anything. You're coming back and I'm sending it back. But returns just never ever has been a problem for me because I send them back, used to selling used products. And it's such a low return rate percentage that you know, I'm gonna get them back and they're going back and they're not hurting my profit, they're not hurting my cash flow. You know, some people, they sell high return products and they start hurting their cash flow because they're not sending back these used products. And then they're continuing to get returns, and at some point they're like, okay, putting a lot but not getting as much because these used products are not sending them back. So you need to send them back, especially if your return rate is 10, 12, 13%. And there's a lot of guys in our line of work that do have, you know, high return rates. So just something to keep in mind, you know.
No, that's fair. I think we spoke about something I think a lot of Amazon sellers would find interesting. You said that you ordered products that have very low return rate, like when people know exactly what they're buying. Can you give some examples of those types of products?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't have to give you examples. I could, but if I can put it this way, when clients come and they're just shopping, right? There's a high probability that they just buy something. Okay, it was on the spot. It was an impulsive move at 3 a.m. You know, sometimes I'm 3 a.m. just look at my phone. I see some people buying stuff. I'm like, what are you buying at 3 a.m.? Like, why are you buying this at 3 a.m.? Like, what's wrong with you? No, obviously Pacific time is 6 a.m. and all the different. It have been midnight at that time, but anyways, different times, different time zones. But all this to say that, what were we saying? I'm sorry, bro. What were we saying?
What did I
like
even
example? Oh my god! No, like examples of products that have low return rates.
Yeah, exactly. So the types of products I sell are niche. It's types of products that if you don't want this product, you won't fall on the listing. When I found these listings and started buying them, I'm like, what the hell are these products? Even
random shit.
For sure.
Random things. But those are things that people are looking for specifically. And mind you, it's tough to even get a hold of the manufacturer and buy from them. That's why for me right now, where I look at myself and my business, I feel very safe, right? I'm buying goods direct from manufacturer. They're willing to sell to me a year long, very big amount. They're also high ticket items. So for me to arrange 100K order, I don't need like 10,000 units or 5,000 units. Boom, 100K order, few hundred units. You know what I mean? Amazing. So yeah, they're very niche. They're very purposeful products. So you're not buying these products because you want to try them or because you're just shopping around. You know what I mean? But I'm very deep in electronics and things like processors, things like motherboards, things like these. That you need to know what you're buying before you buy them. And if you don't want to buy this product, tu vas pas tomber sur ce ASIN randomly.
So the average person wouldn't be buying it, basically.
Right, but then if you're buying a Paw Patrol toy, okay, my son rathers Disney or Frozen Ice, whatever it is. I don't want Paw Patrol anymore. You know, you were just shopping. T'as vu quelques ads en bas dans Amazon, t'as changé ton avis, you change your mind. You know, the products I sell are very purposeful, and since they're high ticket, people probably triple think before buying them.
True.
I
noticed that with high ticket products too, that they don't have very high return rates.
High ticket people are easier to deal with than low ticket.
Oh yeah, 100%.
100%.
Yeah, but the expectations are there.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's throughout all industries. You know, 80-20 rule. Let's just put it this way. 80-20 rule applies.
Yeah, I just want to talk about because you mentioned the academy. I think it's very interesting because I think a lot of people leave a lot of money on the table not teaching what they know. You know, and I think that for you, teaching as you go is probably the best medicine because a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm gonna teach when I make it," but there's a lot of nuances that could be taught during the progress. Can you talk about what made you decide to make an academy throughout your process as well?
100%. And I like what you said at the end in terms of as you grow, you can help more because that's exactly what's happening. And every time I grow in my business, I'm so excited for the people that just signed up, as much excited as for my students that are obviously been signed up because they're going to still get the value. But imagine the guy that just signed up to me today He's going to get, I have partnership with companies to fund his business. I'm showing him all my suppliers. I'm showing him all these fresh, crisp techniques I have. I'm like, you're catching me at the right time. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, why did I wanted to teach? I mean, at start, I was doing this for free, man. I was helping people for free, literally. And I think that was like when I started to teach, like I was getting so many people asking me questions, and I would just do it for free without even thinking of monetizing it. The only time I thought about monetizing it is when it was too much people. When it was started to be like too many people, I'm like, listen, like I need to prioritize the people that are willing to pay me, because those usually translates to the more serious, which more translates to they have more money and they're more willing to build a proper real business. You know what I mean? But the whole idea of me bringing up this academy was to share knowledge. Like, I swear to God, the money I get from, you know, my students, and I'm not afraid to say it because they pay me with such pleasure. And they're like, I've always been told that I'm undercharging. Like, I always been told that I undercharge for what I'm offering. But anyways, I started this because I wanted to help people. And by the way, like every single day, and still, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be viewing this video, I still give out my course for free. Like, I like to help people genuinely. And, you know, by helping people, you also get back so much more. But anyways, so my teachings started mentorships. I used to just mentor people that wanted to take on a new challenge. I would just mentor them. I had no online course. And then eventually I'm like, I cannot juggle all of these people that want to learn how to sell on Amazon. So I just started to film on QuickTime, putting some videos online, and boom, I had a whole course and people are interested, but it's way cheaper. And look, it worked very well. And you know, along with all of the money that came in from teaching, every single cent went to Amazon, man. Like, I promise, not even $1 went out from me, like going to a restaurant or buying this, like everything went back to my Amazon business. And mind you, my community helped me so much to scale, because, you know, you're teaching a friend of yours how to sell on Amazon, and then your friend has a totally different brain and brain of yours, right? He's bringing new things to the table. You're like, shoot, this guy just taught me something, and you know. And then Swift, I'm sure he can say the same thing as well. He taught me so much stuff, but I also exchanged so much things with him. So my community was probably the reason of why I am here today. It's because I've helped them so much. And then, you know, they're so willing to just share some tips and things that they found, you know what I mean? So my whole goal with this is to have a cloud of people, it's surrounding of people around me that do this, you know what I mean? And friends, family, strangers, I'm willing to help anyone that just has questions, because I know the opportunities, you know what I mean? Like, I know the opportunities there is on Amazon, and I taught some people how to sell on Amazon. They make more money than me because they're an actual company with like 5 retail stores, 10 retail stores, and they have a whole on 200. Like, they have their whole business. They just wanted to branch out to Amazon. So, you know, I know what the opportunity is. It just goes with your personal circumstances. And that's why I wanted to just spread as much value as possible. And mind you, I've already did some ads to advertise my course, but then I stopped it because that's not the approach I want to have. You want to learn on Amazon, reach out to me. I'll gladly help you. I'm not trying to sell you something. My goal is to educate you on what to do and what not to do on Amazon. And that's it. That was my whole purpose since the start. And it's going to continue being like that, just with more crisp value. You know what I mean?
That's an amazing way to put it. I think for a lot of people, we get there's a bad connotation to teaching people how to do certain things, but it's like, I think we all started the same. It was never a plan. It was never something we had in mind to teach people. It's when they ask us questions, and then, like you said, you're helping your friends for free, but then eventually there's too many people to help out. So
there you go. And I think, like Abdul said, valuing your time, because when people ask you questions, if you don't put that boundaries, is as if you're giving the information. And he said something important. You can learn essentially everything for free. We post enough content that if you pay attention to every single detail, you could do it without paying a cent. It's just that you have to pay attention to those small nuances. But too many people say they're willing to do it until you put them $1 amount, and then it's, I'm not as serious. So I think that adding a dollar value is like a fence to like block off the people who aren't serious about learning it.
The thing is, like, and a lot of people can testify, when someone reaches out to me and asks me a bunch of questions, I'm never gonna deny anyone that just DMs me. Calling me is another story, like Zoom is another story, but DMing me, I'm gonna answer. And I think a lot of people that ended up opting in my course 2-3 months later, 1 week later, 1 month later, it's because they realize how receptive I am, how and you said something like boundaries. I'm gonna be honest, and this is something I need to correct within myself. I don't have any boundaries in terms of answering people. I'd be sitting at 2 a.m. sometimes just doing random stuff, and someone asked me a question and I answered. I'm like, I just realized I answered this guy at 2 a.m. You know what I mean? So I'm still willing to help out. Like there's no boundaries in what I'm and how much I'm trying to help people. You know what I mean? It's just put $500 and learn how to avoid losing 3, 4, 5, 6K in dumb inventory. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's how I see it. And you mentioned something like if you go on YouTube, you can learn a lot of stuff. You need to be very good by connecting all of the dots. And one guy that was very good at doing that is Swift, again, because Swift was one of those guys that wanted to learn this from scratch, and he did. You know what I mean? So, but not, it's rare people that are able to connect dots like that. And most people should just and more efficiently reach out to someone that you trust and that can help you. And for $500 you can save yourself so much money. And mind you, a lot of people give up on a business because they have limited amount of patience, limited amount of money. They spent it into very bad selling inventory, or just inventory that was not scanned by Keepa, you know what I mean? And they start making mistakes, and they're like, oh, this business is bad, or it's scam, or
they're like, screw Amazon, it doesn't work.
You know what I mean? There's one thing I promise my students. I never promise them that they can make $1 million their first year, but I can promise them that by studying the strategy that I have using Keepa, you cannot make mistakes. If you bought a product and Keepa told you not to buy it, that's your problem. That's not Amazon's problem. You know what I mean? So just there's so much dots to connect, from seller board to Keepa, to looking for wholesalers, to looking for TA. There's so much dots to connect. Have the decency to pay someone or pay a course online, whatever it is, and just have all these dots connected just in front of you. We're going to school for 4 years to hop on jobs that we hate. Anyways, I don't want to go that route. But you go to school for 3-4 years. Non, mais t'es allé au school 3-4 ans. Put 6 months, 2 months, 3 months into learning something that may be way more concretizé or profitable at first. And then, then we can talk, you know what I mean? So that's how I see it. But look, I'm willing to help out. And, I did a random joke the other day. Just text me Amazon, I'll give you my course for free. And,
I saw that.
Bro, j'ai eu comme 120 personnes qui m'ont juste DM. But like, bro, don't DM me if it's 1 day later. Like literally 2 people DM me like the same day. Done. But nonetheless, like I like to give out courses. Like I like to give out for free. I like to help people,
Yeah.
When life and God are so generous, you have no choice into, okay, this guy's been texting me for 8 months. He's been telling me, il veut commencer Amazon, il va acheter mon cours big. Just take it, take it. I'll give it for free. And come ask me if you have questions, And then one day you see this guy, sa business a fructifié, he's starting to make money. I'm happy, At the end of the day, when I see people make money because of me, it's like if I made money on my Amazon graph.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I'm seeing my mom selling on Amazon right now. It makes moi j'ai fait ces ventes là à la fin de la journée. So that's
I wanted to ask about your family. Like, how did you get them into it?
So obviously my brother's as good as me when it comes to video games. So you already know he's my bro. Like what I have is his. Obviously applies for my sister and mom. My sister and mom don't want to sell video games though. They want to sell things that they know a bit more about. So honestly, the same old. Start your Amazon account, buy a few $100, buy $500, get yourself credit, get yourself some line of credit, get yourself some cash, and let's go put in some money, and that's it. And my approach to them was never different than my approach to my students, because I'm so transparent with my students anyways, and I'm giving out the same value to everyone. But obviously, when I'm home with my family, I'm there for them, and I'm physically there, so it's easy for me to teach them. But yeah, look, for me, I'm a society man. I like to help people around, although my business is very solitary and very, I don't want to say secret, but it's mine, you know what I mean? But I do help people around me, and it's in my pleasure. Honestly, it just makes me happy.
I wanted to get away a bit from the teaching people and talk a bit more about your international business. I know you sell in Canada, US. I think you sell Mexico as well, right?
Yeah.
So how's that going? Like, how's the Mexican marketplace going in the US compared to Canada?
So first of all, anyone that has inventory in FBA warehouses located in the US should absolutely right now go to their search tab in Seller Central, right? Remote fulfillment, generate report, and save, finish, whatever, enroll. It's the easiest 6-figure revenue I make on a yearly basis. I've never made an easier 6 figures a year through remote fulfillment in Mexico. Why? Because I send inventory to the US just as I send it to Canada, just as I send it anywhere. And it's triple listed in Canada and in the US and Mexico. Okay, so that's how I initially started selling in Mexico. But right now, I'm studying the ATH codes and all of the import and duties rules for Mexico, because right now I want to send to FBA warehouse in Mexico direct to have a domestic Prime badge and sell way more than what you could sell remote fulfilled Prime. You know what I mean? Because right now, if you look at let's say a listing in Canada and it's a Prime domestic, meaning it's a Prime product that's based in a Canada warehouse, it's going to ship within 2 days. That's attractive. It's going to activate the listing. But if it's a Prime from the US, there's duties, a long shipping time frame, and then the keeper graph is not going to be as pretty as the one with domestic. So now I like the Mexican market that much that I'm going to start exporting directly from the US or any country I'm buying from directly into Mexico warehouses. Because, man, look, for my products that are based in the US warehouses and that are listed in the US, Mexico, Canada, I make more sales in Mexico than in Canada. You understand what I just said?
Oh, yeah, that's
crazy. But obviously, I make more money in Canada because I have products in FBA warehouses in Canada, bien évidemment. But for the products that are cross-listed in 3 marketplaces, of the same SKUs, I'm making more sales in Mexico. And again, it's the easiest 6 figures that I make on a yearly basis. You know, throughout all the different ways that I make to, you know, I generate money. This is the easiest one because je fais rien. I mean, I don't do anything different except click on, activate remote fulfillment the first time I've done it, and that's it. There's nothing to be done. Even the returns. And I haven't gotten barely any returns in Mexico because maybe people don't know that you can get returns in Mexico. But I think they go back into the US. I need to check. Don't take my word for it, but I need to validate what I just said. But I think it goes back to the US, a return. So that's what's very cool. But nonetheless, Mexico is a great market. 140 million people, 130 million people. Mexico City alone is 28 million. It's a big GDP. It's a great country, and it's close to the US. So that's very important, right? The fact that it's close to the US and has NAFTA, agreements with the US, it's so easy to make money in Mexico because of the fact that it's just next to a powerhouse globally, you know what I mean? So Mexico is a great market. You guys should check it out. And prices are very, very nice, like very nice, better than Canada, better than the US, just because there's less supply. You know, for this, I'm telling you this for the same SKU or for the same. A lot of times Mexico is just better priced, obviously currency converted. So great market. Right now, I probably sit 40% US, and then maybe like 45% Canada, and maybe 5% Mexico, or even less than 5% Mexico. Honestly, Mexico is very, very like peanuts what I sell there. But yeah, man, it's great. And let me tell you one thing. One of the things that helped me build my business the most and enabled me to get a very high floating profit margin that I have currently and that I've kind of always had, compared to other folks in this business, is import-export. You know, sometimes I would buy from a manufacturer, let's say Hasbro, and I buy direct from manufacturer, by the way. And then sometimes Hasbro in Canada, because I would have accounts with them in Canada and in the US. So then I'm looking at their Canada inventory and I'm looking at their US inventory. And then sometimes the same manufacturer, some of the SKUs they have in the US does not exist in Canada, and vice versa. So I'm just like, okay, boom. If they don't have it in Canada, let me ship it over to Canada from the US, and vice versa. You know what I mean? You need to kind of create the opportunity where there is the most opportunity. And that's what I was doing. And the import-export was one of the aspects that made me the most money, because I would buy goods in Canada that resellers in the US don't have, right? So I'm selling top dollar, very expensive, because there's low supply. You know what I mean? And that's something that very helped me in my business. It's just thinking outside of the box. At the end of the day, I think in any industry, in any aspect in life, think outside the box. Try to create your own momentum versus just following what everyone does. Because where everyone goes, this is where profits will become very slim, because this is where competition kicks in and it gets tough. You know,
Yep.
So that's one of the main aspects I've had throughout my journey, and it has its challenges. Again, it has its major part of challenge, but it's been profitable for me, and I'm very happy about it.
That's fire. Would you be creating listings when you were doing that, or was it listings that were already on Amazon, just there was no offers?
I've never ever sold any product on Amazon that I created a listing ever.
That's fire. Yeah, me too. That's the goal. Like, I'm not trying
And
to
no
create any
advertising.
listings.
We both know this. I mean, I've done advertising for fun, just for the sake of it, you know. But we don't need advertising. We don't need add a product. Create a listing in our line of work. But yeah, when you actually, as soon as a SKU, an ASIN is eligible for remote fulfillment, it automatically creates the listing. And then boom, you're able to study the keepograph. So for me, I'm like, okay, I've been selling this product 10 times a month in Mexico for these products that are listed in the US, right? And then remotely remotely enrolled in Mexico. And then I go back in Keepa and I see when there was a domestic prime, which means a guy that has items in fulfillment center in Mexico. I was seeing how much sales he was making and the velocity was way higher. I'm like, let me right now send some goods to Mexico direct. You know what I mean? And then obviously I'll need a return address for my returns there. But Mexico is an amazing market, very, very, very untapped. And then sometimes you look at the keepograph, it's a straight green line. But as soon as you see a remote fulfillment prime offer come, lots of sales. So imagine if it's a domestic prime offer, boom, you know, it's going to actually triple in sales. So lots of opportunities. And I've been to Mexico so much the past 2 years. I've spent many months there cumulative, and bro, I see Amazon boxes everywhere. And I see Amazon trucks everywhere. And it makes me happy because that's a brand new market that's so strong. It has to be one of the top 10 market, top 7 markets, and top 5 markets, if I can put it this way, honestly, on Amazon.
I'll just say this, especially for Mexico, because he's right. In the next probably 5 to 10 years, I think we'll see Americans living there full time in Mexico, just because real estate is cheaper, 100%. So I think that if you, and we had the conversation for like real estate as well, but if you just think of it as people are trying to move away from taxes, etc., their spending habits and their, I'll call it appetite, etc., doesn't change. They still want Americanized food, Americanized products, etc. So there's an opportunity there, and I like that you mentioned that being cross-border, and I think that's what we're going forward. In terms of Canada, US, whichever way, I think that is probably a good way to niche out, regardless if you have a retail, clothing, etc. I think just looking outside your primary province or your primary country is a good way for you to advance, especially if you're starting out. So I think that was a very valuable gem.
100%. And by the way, you were mentioning like consumption, the culture of consumption, all that stuff. Man, Mexico, it's a big country. There's a lot of rich people. It's a major manufacturing powerhouse. They should have like an Alibaba for Mexico because there's a lot of manufacturing being held and being done and being executed in Mexico. So people look at it usually as like you know, how the media portrays Mexico, but it's a very spick and span country. Obviously, there's poor and rich in all countries, in the US and Canada, anywhere, right? But it's a very, very strong country. So I definitely want to see myself getting involved way more in that market, whether it's on Amazon or off Amazon, you know what I mean? But thank goodness with Keepa, you're able to not make mistakes and be like, okay, there's sales, let me send in some inventory and boom, make money without having to do any market research, nothing, you know? So it's a great country for sure. And as you were saying, there's a big trend, even Canadians, Europeans, Australians, man, I've seen so many Australians in Mexico going there just because, you know, it's a great country. There's everything, you can do everything just like you're doing in Canada, US. And eventually, as you said, the consumption culture from the US and Canada will evolve into Mexico. And that's going to be always great as well.
Yeah. Yeah. What are like, just this is maybe going a bit back into the teaching subject, what are 3 traits that you see in students that you know, okay, they're going to succeed, and you know, oh, some of them are going to have a tougher time? Like, there are traits that I can tell to people, like, you need to be this way, you need to do this, you need to do this. So what is it for you?
That's a very good question. And man, look, the thing is, all of my students I had like some connection with. Like, it's rare that a student of mine buys my course and I never talk to, right? I've talked to a lot of my students, and what I noticed that some of them are like, they take notes, they harass me with questions only because I answer back. And you know, they're just, and it's not about Amazon, right? It's never about Amazon. It's about their mindset themselves, right?
That's it.
You see them, they're excited, they're motivated, they're up there. You know what I mean? It's like motivation beats knowledge, beats accessibility, it beats circumstances. You know what I mean? So I know a lot of times when someone's going to succeed. Also, obviously, when I see you coming from Shopify, or I see you coming from a already an online business world, I know you might do better than someone that has no idea what Amazon
Yeah.
is. I mean, when I started, I didn't even know that you can buy from third party. I didn't know that I'm buying from third party sales on Amazon when I
Me
started
too.
years ago. You know what I mean?
Same.
Who knows? Nonetheless, it's very important that students, when they want to start this business, is that they know what they're doing, right? And that's why I stopped advertising my course, because I didn't want people to think that I'm selling something. If Amazon is a business that you really want to get into, and that you're going to accept the headache that it has and chase the opportunity it has, perfect. But you need to understand that it's a business. It's a very, very, not complex, but it has its challenges, it has the obstacles, and it's online, and you're on a marketplace. It's not your standalone website. So there's a big risk, default risk involved as well, because you're on a marketplace that is not yours, essentially. So people need to understand the business way more. And also, one thing that I look at a student to kind of determine if he's going to be able to be successful is his expectations. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I put, some students of mine, like there's one of my students that actually is a guy that I'll look up to even before he even started my course. But this guy, his first week is at 8 grand USD. His first week, but why? Because he bought a lot of products. So then my students that maybe that have 2-3 grand in stock, in stock value, 2-3 grand, are telling me, how can I do that? My friend, you're not going to sell 2 grand in one day if you only have 3 grand in your inventory. Right? Mm-hmm. You cannot sell 60% of your inventory in one day. So it's so important for people to know what to expect and to study a business before you move forward with it. Because the worst thing is to just buy into something because you thought it was cool or whatever, and you didn't expect and know of the challenges that it offers. So, but yeah, I've seen all kinds of students, man, like young 16, 17, 18-year-olds, whatever it is. But usually the students like, if I can pull a trend on like the successful students I have, they're people my age, a bit older. They're very motivated even in their outside lives. They train well. They're clean. You see, they're crisp people. They have everything. They have some things going on even externally from Amazon, and it's just like the culture, like the actual mindset. That's what matters. You know what I mean? That's what I look at to determine if a student is going to do well. It's his mindset. And one of the main reasons why I stopped advertising is because I was, people was buying my course just because it's there and because I'm selling them a dream, but that's not what I want. That's all my approach. That's at all my approach, because it's such a unique business, and if you're not willing to grow up with it, just don't do it. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, that's how I see it.
Yeah. I think we've all come across that period where it's like, oh, I feel like I'm selling you something, but like, I don't care whether you want to do this or not. Like, this is not for me. It's like, I want the people that I know and love to do the same thing that I'm doing, because I know it works, and I want a community around me, like you said, because the more people you have around you, the more you can, like you said, learn from them, they'll learn from you, and you'll 100%. Grow together. So 100%. That's what I'm trying to get my friends to do now. Like, I have 2 friends now who are right now, after 2 years, they're ready to try this. And yeah, I'm hoping that they can build up their store just to have that community of like
100%. And you need to put in the hours, man. Like, the easiest thing, the first thing is putting in the time, man. Like, if you don't put in the time, forget it. It's like, there's no way around it. Like, how much money do you have to invest and how much time you have to invest, and that's going to determine how far you're going to go. And like the tools our students have, they're such advanced tools, meaning that you're saving yourself 8-9 months of full-time research and work and mistakes, and so with what we're offering, there's almost no excuse. And one of the main reasons right now I'm bringing value to my students and, connecting a company that's going to be able to fund some of my students is to give them no excuses. Like, you have no excuses. You have a list of 200 suppliers. You're going to be funded if your account is approved and it meets certain criteria. What's your excuse? You know what I mean? So, just people need to have that hunger for something to work. You know what I mean? And that's what separates people that make very, very good money, and whether it's on Amazon or outside of Amazon, at the end of the day, right? It's your hunger, your ambition, your will, and your time. That's pretty much what it is.
Facts. Yo, this is Sasha, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like people don't realize how lucky they are because I see old Amazon sellers who have been selling for years and they're like, these softwares didn't exist like 5 years ago. So they were doing everything manually. Like
Yo,
people
people didn't have Keepa. Like, how the
people
fuck
didn't
do you
have
work
any of these
without Keepa,
softwares.
bro?
Imagine they were doing everything manually. Like we think that Amazon is hard work, but imagine what the guys 10 years ago were doing, you know? And the new people now, even like it's becoming easier and easier with everything that Amazon implements. So it's like people don't realize, like they think it's a lot of work, but it's like if somebody before you was able to do it, but they had to do 10 times the work, it's like you have no excuse of why you can't do it too, you know?
100%. But again, it's the will, right? If
Yeah,
someone's willing to make it work, he's going to be able to make it
That's
work.
it.
for sure.
It's no more. It's not further than the will. Look at his will. You'll see how far he'll get. That's all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Facts.
Obviously, some people gets it a bit easier than others because of their accessibilities and their networks, whatever it is. But look, it's more about the will and the hunger on what you want to do. You know?
Yeah, for sure. So what are your plans? What are your goals like for the future now with your Amazon business? Because you're already at a point you keep talking about scaling. Like you're making a lot of sales on Amazon. You're across 3 marketplaces. What's next? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. So here's one thing about me, and I never look at what I achieved yesterday. It's what about what about I'm doing today. So that's what stresses me. Is what about what I did today when I'm gonna go to sleep tonight. What did I do today to better my business? Did I find a better supplier? Did I open a bank account in the US? Did I open a bank account abroad? Did I figure out a new shipping freight method? Did I figure something out that's going to contribute in the future of my business? So I think having that mindset is just always going to, by default, help me grow and never think of a specific goal that could limit me. You know what I mean? Yes, I have goals. Yes, I have places I want to be and things I want to reach. But my mindset is, what am I doing today to better my business, right? That's the reason why, when you asked me earlier how many hours do I put in, for my business, I could go ahead right now and just put 5-6 hours a week for my work to replenish, communicate with my prep, communicate with my supplier, and just coordinate the purchases and the sendings, and that's it. I can spend 200 grand a month, 250 grand a month, generate some money on Amazon, and then continue, repeat. But what I do offline is researching for new suppliers, reaching out to new companies. Like that's what I do most of the time. So look, right now I'm honestly, I'm gonna be straight up and honest with you guys, transparent. I just got accepted for a major fund, major business fund that's gonna help me boost my business majorly. And that's only by underwriting my US account. They didn't even check my Canada account. And my Canada account is 5% more sales in the US. So I just pretty much got a hold of a shit ton amount of money that I'm not going to take granted for, because every single cent of it is going to inventory. I'm not going to buy any
Of
luxury.
course.
All of it is going to inventory. And I feel that, finally, after 3 years of hard work, this is how much God is providing me. Not more, no less. You know what I mean? And I'm going to be working with that amount for the next year. I'm going to try to spend that whole amount in like 2 months, 1 month and a half, and bring my business. I want to be able to make 500, 600K a month, like not very soon, but like very, very soon, eventually, maybe by next year, like on an average basis. And again, it might not look a lot for a lot of folks, in the US, but I'm not talking about 5, 10, 12, 15% profit net. I'm talking about way, way, way better net profits than that, because that's what stresses me when I wake up and sleep at night. It's what is my profit margin and not what my revenue is. So when I'm mentioning 500, 600K a month, along with the fundings that I'm going to get, it's going to be very good profits. And mind you, it might even get better because I'm going to have more negotiation power against my suppliers, right? So, I mean, look, I spoke with this company that funded me, and, their goal is to get me to 8 figures, right? Whether it's in 2 years, whether it's in 3 years, my goal is to get to 8 figures on a yearly basis. Whether it takes another 3-4 years, I don't mind. I'm going to do good. I have side businesses as well that I do at the same time. I don't only do Amazon. So I really want to be able to reach these heights. And you know what? When it comes to goals, I don't look too far. I look relatively close to things I can attain. So let me get to that step, and now and then I'll think further. You know what I mean? But with these fundings, I know I'm going to be able to. I'm debtless today. Today, j'ai aucune debt for all of the revenue I generate for the past 3 years. Aucune debt. Now that I'm very good and my business is very safe and I have exclusivities and transparency code applied on my products, I'm ready to take on leverage and large amount of leverage, almost pretty much in the 7 figures, large leverage to go ahead and spend all of that in a month and a half and just bring my business to a completely new level. You know what I mean? And then maybe I'll have one employee, maybe I'll have one employee, but I still doubt. You know what I mean? So that's my goal within the next year and a half too, if I can put it this way.
That's fine. That's crazy. Congratulations. That's amazing for real.
Thank you. And I'm bringing this value straight to my students because, maybe not all of them are going to be able to get these big amounts, but, if you're selling 10, 12 grand a month, you're already even if you're selling 8, 9 grand, 10 grand a month, you're already eligible for such funding. So, reach out to me. I can help you. I can give my referral to this company. They like me a lot and they're going to be able to fund you. In this business, at the end of the day, the cash you have, the savings you have, you're using it to generate cash flow. Part of that cash flow is your profit. Why not use someone else's money to generate that same cash flow, but that same profit you got was from money that was not yours? And now that my business is very safe, and by the way, with all the revenue that I'm generating, I have 2 or 1 account health. I have 1 or 2 strikes versus a lot of guys in the game that generates numbers close to mine in revenue, not in profit. In revenue, they're at 15, 16, 18, 22, 23. You know what I mean? So now that my business is safe and I'm sleeping at night way better, now I can start leveraging, $600,000-$700,000 USD and putting it all in 1 month, spend it all in 1 month and let's get it. I want to, what stresses me is doing better than yesterday. So even though I'm making good money, I'm trying to go higher, I see some guys making 800-900K, bro. It's burning me inside. So I need to get there. bro. And no warehouse. I don't want a warehouse. No, nothing. If I live in the US, I will get a warehouse because then I'll start doing FBM. But I won't do FBM in Canada at all, ever. Only if they change their whole infrastructure and maybe if there's 60 million people that comes to Canada, maybe I'll do FBM. But that won't happen. So if ever I move to the US, I'll open a warehouse, have a full-time employee, FBM the F out of Amazon.com. But for now, completely remote. I'm trying to hit $500,000, $600K a month, man. ASAP. With this funding that I'm getting, it's very not far. It's not far.
No, you will. With that funding, no doubt. You said, crazy. It's very calculated what you're doing. So that's just a matter of time for now. But are you planning on moving to the US?
So listen, I've for the past 3 years since I started Amazon, I did not spend a winter here. So I got used to it, not spending a winter in Montreal. And thank goodness, thank goodness for Amazon, because man, I was dreaming of a lifestyle, not necessarily when I started Amazon. It's not that I wasn't necessarily looking for I want to make as much money. I was I like the lifestyle. Swift would be just chilling at 2 p.m. I'd be in the office, contacting high net worth client. I had to be suited up, all clean, parfum, all that good stuff, Whereas him, he's just chilling around, doing his thing, buying goods, selling it. I saw it. I'm damn, that's very so that brings a lot of value, and it gives me a lot of space and time to go ahead and reflect upon myself and make myself a better person, a better version of myself. And that's what was very attractive. So that's why now I'm so happy that at 1, 2 p.m. I can go to the gym. That's so important for me. So I want to move to the US eventually. Now it's gonna be soon enough a very good time to buy in the US, because there's gonna be a whiplash in the US, whether it's immobilier or mobilier, any types of good assets is going to be very crushed in the US. And anyways, it's been hurting already a while. So maybe soon enough. But there's also Mexico that I like a lot. I'm probably going to be one of those people that I didn't ask your name, by the way, Wizard Investor. Charles, my bad, my man.
All good, bro.
But yeah, I'm probably going to be one of those guys that might move to Mexico and take advantage of the heat and sun, all this stuff. But again, as much as I want to go to the US, open some, FBM business, open a warehouse, I think I might just get used to continuing doing what I do best, and which is just dealing with some prep centers and continuing to just do everything hands-free. And the only thing with that is that, of course, when you're doing FBM, you will be exposed to make more sales, because as soon as the good comes, they're listed. They're there.
Yeah. There's no time in between. Yeah.
But again, if you have a lot of inventory and you have a good system in restocking your good inventory, you're as chilling as an FBM, right? Because you're never gonna sell out. You're always gonna have some inventory, and as soon as it's low stock, you go ahead and restock. So you can obviously make so much money with FB and FBM. So it's not doing FBM or FBA that's going to make me more money. It's just my mindset being more efficient in everything I do that's going to help me reach those heights. But we'll see, man. Maybe go to the US. You know, right now, all of my Amazon.com sales, they're in a US bank account, not in a Canada bank account. And maybe a little anecdote for your students or anyone watching this, even if you have a USD checking account in a Canada-based location, in a Canada-based bank, you're still going to lose because it's getting transferred to a Canada bank, transferred to Canada money, and then back to US. So you're still losing. So the only way not to lose in a disbursement in a .com is to have a US-based bank account. So then when the money goes, it's just by the dot, you're getting the same amount and you're not losing on an exchange rate. So already I am well established in the US in terms of having a bank account. There's 6 figures going in that bank account on a monthly basis, and being spent as well, as much being spent, whether in the US or outside the US. And I think one of the easiest ways to get into the US is to prove to them that you can spend like 90 grand USD, or that you have like 90 grand USD that you're going to buy in cost of goods sold and have a full-time employee in the US that is an American. So it's so not hard. I'm just right now, man, I live in my condo. I don't communicate with anyone for my work. Everything is done through email. So it's not like I am in the system in Montreal. I'm in my own system. So even if I'm in Montreal, I don't really care of where I am. You know what I mean? I'm able to travel to Mexico 2-3 months. I'm able to travel to the US 2-3 months. It's just like, I don't really care where I'm at, just because I'm in my own bubble, my own thing, and I'm not interfering with people here. You know what I mean? But eventually, yes. Eventually, the US is definitely somewhere I like, man. It's what can you say? It's a savage country. I love it.
Yeah, that's fire. No, the lifestyle Amazon provides, it's like we're all so grateful for it, I'm sure. And it's like we're all just, like you said, you're floating. Like there's nothing for you. I don't know. We're just chilling, bro. I wish, like,
100%.
I always tell Sasha, you need to show people like we need to show people more of our daily lives, because it's not about the money. It's about what you're able to do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
You're able to just do whatever you want, basically.
Yeah, I used to always say, like, I just want to go to the gym and eat whenever I want, like at my own time.
100%. No, it's so important. You know what? Like, this time that we all of us are getting to ourselves contributes so much to our mindset development, which will equal to just better decisions. You know what I mean? And those better decisions are simply going to mean more revenue, more profits, more whatever it is. So we're so obviously so grateful for this. And I think, I'm not only going to be doing Amazon all my life. I do already things on the side, but Amazon is something I want to do all my life. You know what I mean? And just the fact that I was able to start my entrepreneurial journey through Amazon, like, it's just going to make me rock solid for other businesses, for other types of businesses. So I'm not only grateful for Amazon for the lifestyle, for all the money I'm getting, but it's also teaching me so much for some other things that I can do completely different than Amazon, so
yeah.
It was definitely a checkpoint in my life, Amazon, because it changed my whole approach of life and money and people and everything, you know what I mean? And time, most importantly. So that's why I'm so grateful for Strip, because like I've known him for so long. We weren't talking too much, but then we started talking way more, and then boom, he just shows me a business model that's so fun. And I'm like, I'm gonna go all out, man. And I went all out, and since then I was in no way returning, so that's that.
No, yeah. No, I relate to that. They say it's not about the $1 million. It's about the man you become on your way to making your first $1 million. That's the most
100%.
important. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And that first million is the easiest. Trust.
Facts.
Making 2 million, like when you generated that million, you generated 7 figures, my friend. 2 million is not going to be tough because you have the resources, the knowledge, the experience, and you've experienced it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So 100%. And obviously, if you've done $1 million, it's because you have good suppliers. You have everything set up. Not everything, but a lot of things set up. So it won't be hard to reach that second million. That second become way more profitable, way faster, way more smoothly. You know what I mean?
No, this was a fire episode for real, for real. Did you
Wait,
guys
I want
have
to
any
talk
other
about
questions?
I wanted to talk about one more thing. You mentioned the gym a couple times and like having your own freedom and everything. And I know you go to like the sauna every day. And I saw you post recently about how like you were like, oh, if your mind is in a good place, it helps you with your business. But can you talk a little bit about like your routine and like how that's helped you be able to run your business this way?
100%.
And also, has it started only like since you started doing Amazon, or have you always been this way?
So my parents are very strict when it comes to health in general. So
I love
if I can say today that I'm training on a daily basis and I use all these good things around me, it's because my parents were like included sports in general in their education, in their children's education. Let's just put it this way. So for me, like let's say, sports, just like religion, like was something by default. You know, I have, like my mom's telling me I have to go to swimming class. I'm going. That's like, I have no choice. It's like going to school. You know what I mean? I did karate. I did basketball. I've done everything just because my parents did not give me a choice of just like trying sports. So sports has always been something in my blood. And there was periods in my life where I did not necessarily train much, do sport much. And those were times where my mind, I felt it deteriorate, and the decisions I'm taking on a daily basis were lesser, you know what I mean? Were less good. But obviously, since I'm on Amazon, I can do whatever I want with my time. You know, my routine is the following. I wake up, I see a student or two, not too many students, one student or two. Obviously, you know, I have my other computer. I do I'm doing some stuff at the same time, answering emails, answering a call if I need to with the supplier of mine. You know, just quick light work. You know, when I wake up, I'm not doing like a lot of work that takes a lot of challenge. I have students and I'm doing work, just answering emails, doing a lot of things that don't require much thought process. You know what I mean? And then boom, as soon as I start to like kind of get hungry, I go to the gym, I train, steam room. Probably at that time I would have drank like 10 glasses of water, so I feel like fresh. After the steam, you take a shower, you feel A1. You get home, make my first meal, and very light meal, like a smoked salmon salad. Or
around what time would you say that?
2-3 p.m. Every day, 2-3 p.m. I don't eat, and I also fast Ramadan from like in my religion. And it's still 30 days out of the year, so it's still a consistent amount of days. So I get used to it. It's been like 15 years, man. I don't eat breakfast. Like I do not eat breakfast.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I have energy in the morning until like 12, like at night. I have my hyperactiveness is always there. So yeah, 2-3 p.m. I ate, then I get back home. Might drink coffee like once or twice every 7 days. Might drink coffee. Today was one of those days. And boom, I work, and this is when I'm taking those high thought process decisions. Like I'm buying the products, I'm submitting purchases, I'm going to the bank to wire freaking a lot of money. So this is afternoon. This is when I'm taking the very, you know, important decisions for those daily decisions that I needed to make on that day. And then until like 6 p.m., I'll go ahead and cook myself some good food, or go eat, go take a break, go take a ride, just freshen up my mind. And then when I come back at night, this is where my creative mind comes up. And this is where I start like doing some funky research to find some of the best things that I have today. You know what I mean? It's at night. It's always at night that I found the best manufacturers that I found today, that I'm using today. It's because, you know, you're at night, there's no more light, you're relaxed, you know, the night drugs kicked in, you know what I mean? The natural night drugs kicked in, and you're relaxed. And that's when you go ahead and start sourcing, looking at my competitors, what they're buying, what they're doing. And yeah, at night, this is when I get really creative in my research and analysis. You know what I mean? So that's usually how my day goes. Friday, I only work until 12. Then I have Friday prayer, and then the rest of the day is a family day. So Friday is my day off, if you want, or my afternoon off all the time. And then Saturday is like mixed with a day off, mixed with work. And then Sunday is the day of work, because then Monday, I want all of my suppliers to have received my emails, and I want them to ship ASAP or take care of that ASAP. And then Monday, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to receive all these emails and these responses after my gym, and then boom, repeat, rinse, repeat. You know what I'm saying? So it just gets better. You do the same thing. You're disciplined, and you're doing, you know, you're just executing a routine. But every year, every month, you're getting better. Just because you're executing it, and the compound effect is being applied on you. So you're just getting better, but you need to keep up with your routine, like religiously, you know, like by default, you need to execute what you do best on a daily. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what been my life. And even when I travel, I try to keep the same routine, because you know, if you're traveling for 2-3 months, si tu vas au Mexique pour 2 mois, you want to continue.
Yeah, for sure.
You want to continue doing that, and not leave your comfort zone of zenness, so you can really focus on your work, you know, and continuing to do what you do best, and not disrupt your business. So that's that.
Crazy.
Yeah, I love it. It's so motivating.
Yeah, and it's fun, and it's simple, and I don't have to talk to no one. I don't have a boss. I don't have an employee. Like, it's so important. Like Amazon, man, like taught me self-value so much. And I know it's cliche, but it is what it is. It taught me to think for myself. You know, if I send 100 grand, that's gonna sell in 30 days. This is because I've done this work. You know, I deserved it. So let me give myself more value. Let me go to the gym. Let me go to the steam room. Let me read some books. Let me nourish my body and mind into doing better, so then I can do better at my work, you know. And it's just like an ever going, you know, cycle essentially. Shout out to Jeff Bezos, to be honest, man. This guy, man. I think 1 year ago, I read an article, and there was 100,000 people that made $1 million or more on Amazon. Like, just imagine yourself, you being a guy that, grâce à toi, 100,000 people made $1 million plus.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Using probably one of the easiest online models you can get. Like, one of the easier than Shopify, easier than all that stuff, you know? 100K people made $1 million. Like, I have such respect to this guy. I don't care about his personal life, but as a industry that he built, as a life-changing industry he built, and we're all of us able to live off of that, and that's just crazy to think about it, you know.
He's actually he's crazy. Like, he has both ends. He has the customer side on lock and the others, like us, the supplier side on lock.
That's what I'm saying. And it's so hard to do these two things because the customers,
I know.
And we're all customers, and we know each other as customers, but we're all freaking annoying as customers. You know what I mean? Because if there's like this little thing that you don't like, you want to return, you want to put a feedback, whatever it is. But he has it combined. He, as you said, it's very powerful what he has, and that's why he's one of the richest men on earth. And let me tell you, like, online shopping is not necessarily the most revolutionary technology there is. Like, Elon Musk, in my opinion, the revolutionary technology that is bringing into humanity is way more than what Jeff Bezos is doing in terms of online shopping. Sure. But he just brought it to a totally different level. Like, you know what I mean? He brought it to like 100K. People made $1 million that same year. So it's like the scales of it is just so high, and that's why he's where he's at today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy.
No, I think that's a fire place to end the episode on, for real. Like, this was amazing, bro. I knew this was gonna be fire. Yeah. Like you, like Swift, like you guys are the inspirations, especially here in Montreal. Like, you guys started this whole thing.
It's so rare to find like sellers in Montreal that are actually killing it, you know?
Yeah,
100%.
Most of them are from the US.
Yeah, no, look, most of them are in the US. Most of them are in the US. And most of the people that are in the US, they buy from US suppliers. They resell on US suppliers. Like, the culture of selling on Amazon, unfortunately, it's so mislabeled, because that's not what's selling on Amazon. Like, you know, you're not supposed to build a business and just do what everyone else is doing. Bring in your own juice, bring in your own flavor to the game, and that's usually where you'll make the most money. You know what I mean? But thanks so much. Thank you guys for having me, man. And it's been fun. And this is my second time I jump on a podcast, and I'd love to jump on more. Honestly, you guys are doing great things as well. You provide so much value, something that I might not have been as much active on, but nonetheless, you guys are awesome. To be honest with you, I like your videos, like all that good stuff, man. Continue doing
it. We appreciate your time.
Appreciate it, man.
Oh, of course, it's all my pleasure. And again, shout out to Swift, man. Honestly, shout out to he put me where I am today, and probably gonna chill with him tomorrow or the next day or something.
We'll ask you the Jay-Z question to end on. Would you rather get 500K or have a dinner with Jay-Z?
Bruh. Okay. Why would I have what value does this guy provide?
The confidence with which he said it, bro. What value is Jay-Z gonna provide?
If I go to Jay-Z and he tells me, like, listen, man, like, I'm gonna give you all these suppliers that you can buy goods from and sell on Amazon, and like, these suppliers are gonna give you like exclusivities. And
he needs to.
Perfect. I'm gonna go and sit with him, and I'm gonna screw the 500K, because I'm gonna be able to get more, and I'm gonna be able to scale my business way more than 500K, and then I'll go see Jay-Z. But if I'm not sure to get that value, I can sell through that 500K in like 2 months. You know what I mean? So that 500K is gonna add a 25% profit in like 2 months. So definitely give me that 500K. But yeah, it depends on what value I'm gonna be able to get from that guy. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. So unless Jay-Z comes at you. Unless he comes at you with Amazon advice, fuck Jay-Z.
Nah, as long as he cannot come to me with real concretizable advice.
Yeah.
Like Jeff Bezos?
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say, what if it was Jeff Bezos?
Yeah, fuck Jay-Z. For you, it's Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos or 500K?
Bro, I would again, it depends what he's trying to do, you know, like,
it doesn't matter. Like, you don't know what's gonna happen. You
don't know the vibes. You either get 1 hour with Jeff Bezos or you get 500K right now. You don't know what the vibe is gonna be. He could be not talking to you about Amazon, but he could also
he might hate you. He might hate you. He might be like, screw this guy.
look, he was still the CEO of Amazon. So CEOs, they're very ethical people. And he's not going to share some secrets with me, you know? But let me just grab that 500K. That 500K in a year, bro, is gonna be a multi-7-figure amount. So anyways, you know what I'm saying? But I would take the 500K because I know what to do with it. Like
that's
I
it.
can,
That's it.
You know, I can do something with it. Versus Jay-Z, what am I gonna do with Jay-Z? Like, show me your watch. Show
That's
me your
fine.
I don't need none of that shit, you know?
Yalla, that was a fire episode. Thank you guys for watching and subscribing to Untold Gems. We'll see you all next week.
Yes, sir. Take it easy, guys.